Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Notes from Chicago. Today, we have an amazing guest, Andy Belomo. She is a muralist, an artist. Andy, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, how's it going?
We usually like to start these episodes with the same question we ask every guest. What do you love about Chicago?
Hmm, so many things. I think the first thing that comes to my mind is just saying the people. I moved here from the East Coast back in 2008, and I feel like as soon as I got here, everybody was so friendly, and there was like these little pockets of people who were forming these like families. And I felt like I was like invited into these groups of people who were like creating chosen families, and I became a part of that. And I just felt at home and welcomed, and I just never turned back after that. It's almost 20 years I've been here now, so
That's amazing. That's such a great
I love it.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we get into your work, I'm curious what's behind you. Like what's going on with your background?
My new life, okay? So I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna see if I can show you up close. So I just started this journey with wool,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm obsessed. I've been creating these like really large scale wool kind of like paintings, but just all out of wool. And so I've been hand felting them. So the process is you take the wool, you lay it out, you put down soapy water, and you just kind of agitate and rub it until it turns into a flat felted surface. And it's so fun.
When you say large scale, how large scale are we talking?
Um, so far, the biggest one I've done is 5 feet by 5 feet, but I'm trying to take it to mural size. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to cover like an entire like 10 foot by 30 foot wall. And so we'll see.
Let's start talking about your mural work. How long have you been creating murals?
I think the first time I started creating murals was probably 2007, 2008, just right when I started to move my life to Chicago. I got here and just kind of randomly met a bunch of mural artists. I used to actually sell spray paint out of my backpack in Chicago. I'd ride my bike around in the alleys and sell spray paint. And then I met artists that way. And then I just met, once you meet one, you meet another and you meet another. And I started volunteering, interning, working my way kind of up to mural work. I don't have an art degree. I have a master's in education, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So it was all hands-on community learning is how I got into it.
Did you know that did you always know you wanted to be an artist?
I did. I thought I was supposed to be a teacher, and then I realized I could do both. And so I kind of mixed education and art for a really, really long time. But I always, as a child, I always was really into art and making and creating and doing all types of things. So I kind of felt it, but I didn't feel like I had a real direction for a career in art
Mm-hmm.
until I got to Chicago. And then I was like, oh, people are out here creating work for their life. Their world is murals, their careers are in murals and art and sculpture and everything. So I got really into it and I was like, I can actually do this. This is a real thing.
Was it the community that helped you learn that, or did you create a few murals and think this is something that I've got here, or there's demand here for what I want to do?
I think it's like you'll either catch the bug or you won't. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you get on a mural and you start painting, there's something that happens to the inside of your body that I can't really I'll try to explain it, but I can't really explain unless you're there doing it. But it's like this overwhelming feeling of like excitement and nervousness and like just inspiration. And you're on the street, you're with other people, you're working with other artists. It's magical. It is like a place and time like no other. And then you just cannot stop. And so you're just looking for more and more. And I'm not sure what every muralist I talk to just says, like as soon as they started, it just like caught them, it just grabbed them. And I felt that way. And also I came into it with not really a painting background or anything. So I had to get on YouTube, I had to volunteer, I had to like really learn from other artists how to do this work. And it took a long time and a lot of work, but I felt like I worked my way through this process and finally, ended up doing it.
You've created more than 40
Oh,
murals. Yeah,
oh,
or maybe even more than, I mean,
yeah.
a
I
lot.
don't show I don't show all of them.
Yeah. What is the one you're most, if you could pick a baby, what's the one you're most proud of?
You know what? I just had this experience last summer and it was like very emotional for me. Very significant piece and very emotional. Number one, it's not there anymore. I did a large scale mural with the Chicago Cultural Center, and it was under this project called Exquisite Murals. And I kind of entered the project knowing that I was not going to be painting murals for a while after that because I had it in my mind I was doing this major career shift into fibers and into sculptures. And I knew I was going to kind of like put murals aside for a little while as far as paint goes. I love painting and I love painting murals, but could feel myself changing. And the other thing that was happening is I was exploring a lot of nervous system and anxiety and postpartum kind of concepts. So I was bringing those two together. And then the mural at the Chicago Cultural Center was a public piece. So it was live painting. So I showed up every
Oh,
single day.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I showed up and I had two neighbors, Steph Skills on my right. And so the thing about it is that you have this little compartment where you're painting and people are walking by you and they are watching you paint. And so I'm like drenched in sweat. I don't like when people watch me. It's not outside, so it's different. It was inside in this little box. I felt just like on display. And I also like wasn't completely sure about what I wanted to do right away because it was very open. So I painted two murals and then whitewashed them both at that time period. Then
Huh.
a third mural, yeah.
Okay.
Then I painted a third mural and I was like, all right, I got to make this one work because I'm limited time here. And so people were watching me paint and wipe over my work and paint and wipe over my work with white, rolling it out. And they were just like, what is going on? Like they had no idea what was going on. In the end, I felt like I went through this really emotional process with myself, but like in public, like
Yeah.
people watching me. Just,
How long was that process of creating that?
it was
Get me
all
to the,
summer.
okay.
Yeah, I think I started in June and then we finished it by the end of August, I think. So I spent like the whole summer kind of just trying to figure out my life. And also it was like it was deeply personal for me because I was like exploring these concepts that were real to me and real to the people around me. Like there was a lot of conversations about postpartum anxiety and
Yeah.
nervous system and regulation. And I felt like it was really hard to figure out how to convey it through an abstract work.
Yeah.
And I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could do it. And I feel like, the process was doing it more than the outcome or the final piece.
Yeah. That makes sense. I'm curious, like, even as you're talking about that process of like having something, whitewashing over it, going through that, and then even now, so that, you finished it in August and now it's not even there anymore. There is this like sort of aspect of murals, not murals that is different maybe than a stand, like something you might see in a museum or a gallery. It's ephemeral by design. It won't be there forever. How do how how do you feel about that? Because you're putting so much work into it and it's there for a while, but not forever.
You know what it is? It's like not many things last forever. So it's still part of that larger, grand process of life. But the other thing is that murals are bigger than us physically, but they're also bigger than us emotionally, mentally, psychologically. So it's kind of like it sets your mind to understanding and to connecting more to like what is more important, what is bigger than you in this world. And so when it's not there anymore, all those things are so significant, they stay with you. And
Hmm.
so you still have that process in your body no matter what happens at the end. Obviously, we all want our pieces to stay forever and affect the community, but the community and the artist will always be affected by that process, especially if they're there on site daily watching you work through that. That's an experience that, like, I can't really think of that many other art forms, public art, There's not many other art forms except for creating something in the public that brings all types of people together with that process.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating.
How do these are commissions? Well, I'm assuming they're commissions because they're public spaces. So how do they come to you?
There's so many different ways, early in the days I would apply for things. I would apply as many projects as I can. Now I find myself applying to things that make me feel really connected to the work.
Hmm.
So if it's about community, if it's about uplifting, marginalized voices or queer people, or something that I feel is going to have some type of positive impact on my community and globally. So now I'm like really focused on that. Early, I was like, I want to get as much hands-on work as I can. So I was constantly looking for things. So now a lot of times people will reach out to me because they just know who are, our group of artists in Chicago are kind of all know each other. And once you start getting in the industry, people know who you are and
Hmm.
reach out to you. But I still kind of go looking for things that I think would be really interesting or fun to do or important to me. So yeah, I guess it just depends on what it is and what year it is. Like before I had a baby, I was like, oh, let me just apply for every single job possible. Then I had a baby and I was like, oh shit, she's sorry. She's
That's
a
okay.
she's a full-time job. Like I have to like this, how do you do this? It's a whole other thing when you're an artist mother versus when I was just an artist.
Yeah. How old's your kiddo?
She's almost 5.
Okay.
She'll be 5 in April, yeah.
Amazing. A lot of your work now, and we'll talk more about this, centers on queerness. And I'm wondering if, as you were starting out, if that was intentional or if that became more of a focus, later on for you.
I think what happened was I moved to Chicago and I was like coming out still. I moved here when I
Hmm.
was 29 and I was like still coming out. It took me it took me like a legit decade to come out. When I came here, it became a little bit easier. And so I always will and would make work about my life. And I was going through this process kind of forming queer community and forming chosen family and being accepted and welcomed and loved and supported.
Yeah.
And so naturally, I started making work about queer communities and queer people. Then I started realizing that queer people specifically were doing all kinds of really important work for the world through activism, through teaching, through art making, and those stories and those specific people were inspiring me. So
Yeah.
then I started making work about different people, and that's when I started getting into the queer mural series and teaming up with other artists and collaborating. And so it was just like a long process that was part of my life and could not be part of my life, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's then dive into the queer mural series. Um, what is it? What's in the series?
Um, there's a number of murals in this series. I feel like the first one maybe started in 2018
Hmm.
with The Love I Vibrate. So that was a collaboration mural with Sandra Anton Georgi and Sam Kirk. And it was at the time on the side of Howard Brown and centered an artist named Kiam. It was about understanding queer people and gender, non-binary, trans people, but also at that time I kept thinking like, we put famous people up on pedestals. We are always swooning over, actors and performers and singers. And then I felt like, they're always kind of like larger than life. And then I felt at the time I was having these conversations with my partners and I'm like, I feel like our people in our community should be larger than life. Like you should be able to walk by someone that you know or that you know of or that you're in community with and understand that we're all doing this significant work. And so we should be having these other pedestals to be on and to look up at other people and just kind of like check yourself when it comes to your community and like make sure you're paying attention. Are you asking questions? Are you interested? Are you like connecting to the people in your community who are doing a significant amount of work for you to have a better life. And people are doing that work. And so I thought, oh, the mural series really is about all these amazing artist activists who are queer, who are in our community, who are working really hard to support queer people, all types of people in our community, specifically queer people.
So it started with that mural
Yeah.
at Howard Brown,
Hmm.
and then
So the
and
left.
yeah,
So there was a bunch of them in between, but it
yeah,
also turned into digital work
yeah,
and digital mural series and posters, and like there was all these other branches out of it. But the last one I did was actually kind of made me sad because it was amazing. It was a gorgeous piece and it was amazing, but I was like, is this the last one I'm going to do forever for a long time? I'm like switching gears right now, and it was of Elisa Gregory is a dancer in Chicago, and she's just so inspiring and phenomenal. I met her years prior to that and followed her work, and I really wanted to make a piece about her and the dance community in Chicago, and specifically queer dancers in Chicago. Um, and I did her piece, and I feel like I just was kind of like depressed painting it because I was like, is this, I knew I was going to take a break from painting and from the queer mural series for a little bit. I'm sure it'll pop back in my life. I'm sure I'll
yeah.
revisit it, but it was kind of the last one that I did.
When did you do that one?
I just did that. When did I finish it? Oof, it was like a few months ago. It was warm-ish out when we celebrated, so maybe I finished it in the fall.
Okay, where
Yeah.
is it?
My timeline is blurry. It is at Out of the Closet.
Oh, okay.
You know them, right?
Yes, yes, yes. They
Okay.
thrift store.
Yeah.
They donate the money. Do
Yeah.
they donate the money to?
AIDS Health Foundation, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's the name. There's a lot of different foundations, but I think that's the name of it. But yeah, Out of the Closet is a thrift store who does a ton of work for the community, and mostly queer people working there. And so it was a really beautiful experience because I was there painting every day, working on this portrait of this other queer person. We had so many conversations, people were coming in. But, at the same time, I was like, oh, I'm wondering if this is going to be the last one I do for a long time, kind of like bookended the project just for a little bit.
Yeah. Let's get into the coloring book.
Oh, I didn't know you knew about that.
Yes.
You know everything. You did your research. Yeah, okay, so I became a mother in 2021 when she was
Mhm.
born. Everything's a blur now. And I feel like you have older kids because you have that laugh where you're like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying because you've already done
Yes,
it,
so,
maybe.
yes, it's the laugh of I remember, and I'm so glad I'm past it.
I can't wait to be wherever you are. I can't wait to be there because it is amazing and beautiful and so extremely challenging. Um, but so I became a parent and I decided that I wanted to highlight queer families in Chicago, which we're calling Pride families in Chicago. So the coloring book is 46 different families in Chicago where we illustrated. Basically, they sent in a photo of
Hmm.
themselves, whatever they wanted to send in, the family photo. We illustrated it and created the background. I started it like 2 years ago, and maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, and it just took a really long time. I ended up finally hiring an intern to help me with the work, but
Yeah.
the illustrations of 46 pages takes a really long time. And now just yesterday, I finished it. So it is done. It is getting edits. And
Amazing.
yeah, and so I'm gonna go through the edits probably next week with a good friend of mine, and we're going to finalize the pages and then send it to print. So I would love to launch it maybe in July.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Where would people find it?
Well, they'll probably be able to find it online through my Instagram at
Yeah.
first, but I think we're gonna pick an event space and
Mhm.
make a huge event out of it and have workshops and coloring stations and fun things for kids, and everybody will be invited to donate to get one. The families will all get one for free, obviously, because they donated their beautiful families in it. So we'll do that, and it's just going to be fun and a relief, and I'm going to be really excited to have. I feel like it is the first ever Chicago Pride family coloring book. I'm pretty sure. I didn't see another one, so that's why I made it.
Yeah, maybe talk a little bit more about why you decided to make it and what you hope people take from it.
Yeah, so I feel like so Sunny started my daughter Sunny, she started school, and there was as soon as she started school, there was a Pride family group.
Hmm.
And there's maybe about I feel like maybe 16 or 17 families in it. I'm not sure how many now, but it keeps growing. And then I realized that what was happening was Sunny was seeing other people's families as queer families and pride families, families with two moms, families with two dads, families with a trans parent or a non-binary parent. And she was starting to become like confident in her own family. Yeah, and so I was like, "Oh, if she's feeling starting to feel confident that there are other families that mirror her families and she's starting to feel welcomed and supported and included, then we need to make this idea of feeling welcomed and included if you're a child of a queer family or a pride family bigger." And, I wanted to do 100 families, and when I first started, I was like, "I wanna make this coloring book as big as I can,
Yeah.
however many families in Chicago," but of course, I put the call out and people were really excited, and the idea is just about, you have to kind of see that we are the same as
Yeah.
every other
Yeah.
family. Our families we do all the same things. We're just as important. And it is visibility for queer families is extremely important, when we're up against laws that are being created to,
Yeah.
stop our families and from growing and thriving. And so I feel like it's just a little thing that you can do. It's a form of activism that you can do that's very community based and um, kind of pulls everybody together so that we're stronger and feeling more confident as a group of people.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think I will tell you as having older kids, they're not that old, they're 10 to 12. But what I've been really amazed by just there at CPS and just I think growing up in Chicago and just like now as I constantly compare like my childhood, in the 80s and 90s to their childhood. And the acceptance and like the vocabulary that they have to talk about everything and everyone in different families is like amazing to me, but also like completely normal non-event to them. And I'm like, this is awesome. So thank you for doing that. That's really
Yeah.
great. That's very, very cool.
Yeah, it's hard to have a grow up in the 80s like we did and then have kids now and see the difference. It's really fascinating to
It's
see.
fascinating, and I think it's like it's really heartening for me because it's a pretty it's a if well it's not that short of a period of time, but like it feels it feels like not that long ago.
Yeah.
Like of course you remember your childhood, but it feels like not that long ago. And I do like, even though like you know certainly tumultuous times right now, but when I see these kids, and I just I don't know, like when I see these kids and like kind of their viewpoints and their it's I don't know, it makes me really happy, and I would say more optimistic. I think I'm more optimistic because I have kids and I can see what's going on with them than I
Mm.
would be if I didn't have kids. So
Yeah.
um yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I
Just
feel like I have
excited.
confidence in all of our children right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. You've been doing this for a long time, as a, you've been a working artist as your primary career. Um, what do you think would surprise people about kind of that day to day, your day to day like working life?
Hmm. What would surprise people? I don't know what they know. I mean, do they do they know that like an artist is legit like a maker, an administrator, a manager, a director, an assistant director, an intern? Like there's not one job that I don't do owning my own company and trying to make a career for myself with myself. Um, just the amount of work that goes in on a daily basis, it's so hard to create, and I know a lot of people say this, but I don't know if people are out here constantly talking about like just there's a couple of things going on. It's like we're living in this world right now that we're kind of fighting to change and make better while we're also trying to make work about it, while we're also trying to have a life and
Yeah.
deal with the very personal things that we are dealing with in our own homes. That combination of things, I feel like people are having small conversations here and there, but I'm not sure if the significance of it is getting as much attention as it needs to be. Like recently, I was having a conversation just about the concept of exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
I created this piece out of fell about, and it's just this woman just like hung over, like just,
Yeah.
she's like this. And I feel like every single person was like, oh my God, I feel that way. Oh my God, I feel that way. Oh my God, I feel that way. And
Yeah.
it wasn't just mothers and parents. It was literally everyone that was just like, everyone is so tired and overwhelmed and exhausted, not just with their own lives, but this understanding of how to make global changes and what we need to do. And so I feel like, I don't know, that's the thing that I think about the most. I don't know if it's surprising, but it is important.
Do you try to fight that exhaustion, or how do you fight that exhaustion?
Um, well, I have so many therapists. I have a couple therapists. I have a personal therapist. I have a pelvic floor therapist.
Sure, yes.
Oh my God. And I have a parent now therapist who like helps me with, parenting skills. Um, that's one way. And then also like reteaching myself. All of my friends are like, you have to reteach yourself to slow down because I just have been on, speed dial for so many years. And then naturally, when you have a baby, you have to learn how to slow down because you can't do it all. And you have to actually have energy and a brain for her.
Yeah.
So, I just started I got deep into a meditation routine and relaxation techniques and just kind of figuring out ways to even just intentionally slowly move my body on some days where I just have to like pull myself back and say, like, okay, let's just try not to do anything for 20 minutes. Let's see if you can do it. I'm so like go, 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 go that I really, you know, try to learn from other people about how to just slow down and relax and take bigger breaths and just enter things without so much like this has to be done now. We have to do this and this and just like less things to do altogether.
Are you successful?
No, not at all. Not at all. Never. Not one day in my life have I felt relaxed. You know what though? I did get a massage and I was like, oh, I should just but you have to pay money to get massages so they add
Yes.
up, but you can't get one every day.
No, no. Or live on a massage table.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right. You have to just find your ways. I will say when I go to the beach, when the summer gets in Chicago beaches, I do feel like I get down to the lake and I'm like, oh, this is what it's like. And I'll go by myself and I'll just lay in front of the water. And I do feel like I can actually just unwind down there for
Yeah.
sure.
You talked a lot about the community in Chicago, and specifically like the artists that you've met since you arrived. Who are your favorite Chicago muralists?
Oh my God, so many. Oh my God, I have so many favorites. Well, Sandra Anton Giorgi, of course. She's been my partner for so many years. She's an incredible portrait painter. She did the Love I Vibrate piece portrait for us. And Max Sansing, anything by Max Sansing, I love. All the sculptures by Sonia Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, my friend Ruben, who goes by Likes. I love his just all this abstract work. It's just gorgeous. I've loved his work for so long. There's just so many people. I could I could go on and on. Chicago is packed with an incredible group of artists doing many different things. I have so much admiration and inspiration. Just getting up on Instagram and just looking at what's going on out there. There's never a dull moment. Everybody's constantly creating. It's inspiring, and I feel just like so lucky to have it just be embedded in a culture in a city where just everyone is just constantly creating. It's incredible.
Is Is there a mural of yours that no one knows much about, or maybe there's a hidden story behind it that a viewer wouldn't get unless they talk to you about it?
Yes, there is. So I did a piece called The Pride Flag, and it's right now in Hyde Park under one of the viaducts there. And it's this really, really large scale digital stained glass pride flag. And the interesting thing about it, and I think about it all the time, and it's definitely not written online and it's not written as part of the piece, but there was a time period when I moved to Chicago, the first thing I did was I got really into stained glass. So I did stained glass work for a decade. I did so many mosaics and murals in stained glass and studio work in stained glass, just so much work in stained glass. I got so into it. And when I got pregnant, as I was pregnant, I was trying to continue working in stained glass and solder, and I got this really weird reaction to the soldering. Like I got kind of like an allergic reaction, like I couldn't breathe really well, and I had to stop doing it. And it was so sad because I was like doing this work for so long, but the chemicals were just like, and then even after I had the baby, I kept trying. The
Hmm.
chemicals, I was just reacting to the chemicals in such a way that I was getting really sick. So I was like, all right, I went to a doctor about it, and she was like, you just have to stop inhaling these chemicals and see what happens. And then I stopped and I felt better. So I had to stop the stained glass. So at
Yeah.
that time, I took all these photos of all the stained glass I had. And then I also collected photos from the websites of the stained glass companies and put them all in a folder. And I started creating these digital stained glass series works.
Hmm.
And so the Pride flag in Hyde Park is a combination of all of these photos that I had taken of all the stained glass work. And so that piece and all the digital stained glass series pieces are kind of like honoring that time period in my life,
Hmm.
that decade of doing stained glass. And the pride, it's funny because the pride flag is also honoring like my time period of coming out in Chicago, which like took 10 years. And I did stained glass for 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's like this combination of queerness, coming out, stained glass, honoring my work within stained glass at the time. Um, and just it all kind of came together in that series. And so that piece, you can see it and it's like, it's a pretty flag and it's a pride flag and it's rainbow and but there it's so meaningful to me because of what I went through to create it.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that story. That's great. All right. So we love to ask people this when they come on, and it's usually our last question. But when people come visit, what are the things that you tell them that they have to do in Chicago?
Hmm. Okay, if you come to Chicago, well, you have to go to the Garfield Park Conservatory
Yes,
because do you love that place? I
I
love
love
it.
it, and this is the February is the time for the
Yes.
Garfield Park Conservatory to shine.
Yes.
Yeah,
I went there Friday night for my birthday for a jazz show and I was just like sitting among plants listening to jazz and I love it there. It's incredible. So if you like plants and flowers, I would definitely go there or the Botanical Garden, which is kind of outside of Chicago.
yeah.
If you want to dance, go to Slow Mo or Old Gold. Have you heard of those?
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
They're like queer dance events. Slow Mo and Old Gold, so fun. I actually like my neighborhood. I live in West Humboldt Park, and there are so many restaurants here. And there's a coffee shop on the corner called Cafe Calida,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of my favorites. And I feel like not a lot of people know about it. And it's amazing, incredible. The owners are fantastic. I love it there so much. And I just like being in the parks.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I just like walking around Humboldt Park or, walking around. There's so many little nooks that you can just go in and be in nature. And Chicago does a really good job kind of like pulling nature into the city, and
Yeah.
or obviously the lake.
Yeah.
When I first came here, I was like, they got the ocean here? I was like, what's going on? 'Cause, I came from the East Coast and it was the ocean, and I got here
Yeah.
and I was like, this looks just like the ocean. What's happening? But I had to figure out how big Lake Michigan was. It's amazing. So yeah, get down to the beach for sure.
Love it. Andy, thanks so much for joining us today. This conversation was so fun,
Thank
and I
you.
really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time.
Thank you for listening to Notes from Chicago. This podcast is edited and produced by Tanisha Blakely. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to Notes from Chicago on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts.